two recent studies suggesting that CBD, which comes from hemp, can be effective in fighting coronavirus. Researchers seeing that it might prevent virus infections in mice. Now, clinical trials are still needed to see if the same thing will happen in humans. So let's get the latest now from Dr. Adam Brown, who is an emergency room physician and chair of the COVID National Task Force at Environ Health, which is one of the nation's largest healthcare systems, and he's in Washington. And Doctor, thank you very much for being with us. Describe for our audience what these studies actually found and how they were conducted.
Yeah, so the studies found that in test tubes and in mice, CBD may reduce the potential for the virus to replicate, meaning to reproduce over and over again. However, I caution people to take this study too far and to run out to a dispensary or to run out to a store to get hemp products or marijuana products, partially because this was only done in the lab. And there's still a lot of studies that need to be done to determine whether or not CBD in humans can be used to reduce viral replication or some of the symptoms associated with COVID-19.
We also need to point out for our audience that when COVID started, they were throwing a lot of spaghetti against the wall trying to figure out what would and what wouldn't work. Is this one of those cases where we may be making a mountain out of a molehill, or does this actually have legs?
Well, it certainly could be. I mean, Del, when you think about back at the beginning of the pandemic, and it still unfortunately continues, there's a number of medications that have been out there that have been studied with very poor effects against COVID-19, like ivermectin, like hydroxychloroquine. So I always get a little bit nervous when there's been some lab studies that have shown some slight improvement within the laboratory setting itself, because it just may not translate with humans. And of course, when there have been some studies done on either medical marijuana use or CBD use in humans, which have been very small, there hasn't been a significant improvement seen. That said, that may be associated with study design, that may be associated with what variant of the virus may have been in place at that time. But this is encouraging in that we need to move forward and look forward at new type of tests associated with CBD and coronavirus. But we shouldn't be going out yet to our dispensary or to the store getting CBD, because the studies are just not conclusive yet that humans will benefit from it.
Dr. Brown, let's talk about the latest news concerning vaccinations. Pfizer is requesting emergency use authorization for its COVID vaccine for children 6 months to 5 years of age. If all goes well, you have millions in your pipeline. What are you going to recommend? And I know that this is going to be a tight one on the FDA because it involves the youngest among us.
That's right. So to answer the question simply, if the FDA does approve the Pfizer vaccine for children 6 months to 5, I would wholeheartedly support it. The FDA goes through rigorous evaluation of the studies that Pfizer have put forth, and have a number of healthcare professionals on their independent healthcare professionals on their panels to look at the efficacy and safety of the vaccine. So just the same as they have done with children over the age of 5, and just the same they have done with teenagers and adults, I would support the use of that vaccine if they found it to be safe. But that's a conditional statement, Del, if they find it to be safe. And that's one of the reasons why we have these type of regulatory bodies and why we have these type of commissions set up to look at vaccines to ensure that they are safe and effective to be used for that population.
Do you think that we will see this vaccine available by the end of the month? I'm hearing mixed verdicts from healthcare officials, some saying they think it will happen, others saying because it is children that the FDA is going to take it slow.
My sense is that the FDA may take this slow. And also, we need to know what is going to be the manufacturing timeline from Pfizer, especially if there are changes in the dose, which I expect that there will be. So I think those are two things that will be dependent, understanding those two things, on the speed at which this comes out. Now, of course, I know many of my colleagues who are parents want this vaccine out there as quickly as possible. But again, we want to make sure that there are no shortcuts taken, and I'm sure that there will not be, in ensuring that the vaccine is safe for kids under the age of 5.
Dr. Adam Brown is the emergency physician and chair of the COVID-19 National Task Force for Environment Healthcare System. Dr. Brown, thank you very much for being with us.